This is a really dumb idea, Rocky. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 35th episode of the show Power Rangers Zeo, as well as the 190th episode overall titled Mondo's Last Stand. We begin this episode at the youth center where Adam and Jason are sparring while Kat, Tanya, and Tommy watch. Can I just say, I really miss having Austin St. John on this show, simply for the eye candy. I mean, goddamn. Then Tanya acts surprised that Jason is good at fighting like he wasn't a freaking Power Ranger before. Rocky shows up and he asks Tommy if he wants to spar, and Rocky feels let down that Tommy already agreed to fight with Jason. Then Bulk and Skull come in and they make fun of Rocky because they say, "Oh, you're definitely getting replaced by Jason." Irony. Then Rocky sits down thinking about this. Meanwhile, Mondo is watching a montage of his creations sucking. Machina then says it's a shame they didn't have his own battle sense, and he suggests if you want something done right, you do it yourself. Then Rocky goes and gets a juice and he finds Billy. Billy says how Jason is going to teach him a new kata next, which I feel like is a weird allusion to the first episode, and Bulk and Skull talk about how much more attractive Jason is than Rocky, poking fun at him. I love this. Also, Stone is there with a client from the Burble Baby Foundation, clearly a pun on the Gerber baby thing. They say that they're looking for the original baby from their ad campaigns, and they say he would be a teenager now and he's most likely just moved to the city. That's like oddly vague information. Rita and Goldar land together on the moon looking around, and then the freaking RV shows up in front of them, driving up to them. They contemplate knocking on the door, but then it just opens and it's freaking Rita. I guess things didn't work out at Master Vile's house. In a clearing, Mondo is about to uncover the Damocles sword from underground, and Machina warns that last time he used it, he almost died. He yells that he's got this now, and he beckons it from the ground, watching it grow. At the youth center, Bulk and Skull think that Jason is the Burble baby, and they say they have to make sure and they need to get his fingerprints. Then everyone's communicators go off, and Jason goes to get his towel, knocking his communicator off of it. Also, his communicator has golden straps. That's a nice little touch. Tommy talks to Zordon, finding out about Mondo doing stuff. They decide to take the Zeo jet cycles because they can't teleport there for plot convenience reasons. They then wonder where the hell Jason went, and Rocky says he's talking to Bulk and Skull. I guess you'd want to wait for him. Nope, not at all. Forget everyone being the same level of importance, Tommy. It's morphin' time. Also, Billy's going to go back to the power chamber. The Rangers ride around on their bikes, and they're getting fired at by the quadrifighters from above, and Sprocket heckles them just as they're hit right off the damn bikes. Now they're fighting against the cogs that have surrounded them, and Tommy tells Rocky to keep them busy. Tommy's gonna go look for Mondo. Tommy then finds Mondo, telling Zordon about this giant-ass sword. He rolls down a hill to stop him, but Mondo just disappears. The cogs then disappear, and the Rangers regroup. Tommy tells the others about the sword. They get back to the power chamber, and Tommy thanks Rocky for a good job for some odd reason. They then just ignore him, asking Billy about the sword. They say they have to get in touch with Jason, but they can't because it doesn't seem like he's actually answering his communicator, so he must not be wearing it. Billy says to lock onto it and teleport it into the power chamber. At the detective agency, Bulk and Skull realize that they have Jason's communicator, and it disappears right in front of them, and they freak out a bit, but then they're just gonna eat baby food. Billy says that there's ink on Jason's communicator. They decide to split up and they leave, and the door closes on Rocky, which is like a really weird, funny moment. Rocky's then walking around alone in the countryside, and he finds Mondo, Machina, and Sprocket with the sword, which Mondo uses to make himself grow giant. Rocky then goes to contact the other Rangers, but then he stops, realizing that this is his opportunity to prove himself because he doesn't want to be replaced by Jason. It's morphin' time. Rocky then calls out his Super Zeozord, warping into the cockpit. He lands in front of Mondo, taking him on one-on-one. Of course, Rocky isn't doing great against Mondo, and his Zord actually has giant tonfa weapons, which Mondo cuts in half. Rocky is then forced to retreat. Mondo then says that by nightfall it'll be clear that there's only one power in the galaxy left now. Rocky arrives in the power chamber, and Alpha says that Mondo is in the city destroying things. Rocky then blames himself because he put himself out there to get beat up by Mondo. Rocky then says if he never tried to defeat Mondo alone, he wouldn't have gotten to the city. The others show up, and Jason asks why Rocky would even do that. Great question, Jason. Jason then says you'll have to bring your Super Zeozords together to form the Super Zeo Megazord. Billy says that they need a part though, and Jason volunteers to go get this part from the junkyard that Billy accidentally tossed out without realizing it. Also, I like how Tanya just says that it can't be too hard to form the Super Zeo Megazord if they've done it before with other things. I mean, she's not wrong, they just kind of do it. Jason gets a tracker for the part, and it's morphin' time. The Rangers then just formed the Super Zeo Megazord with absolutely no issue. I mean, what was the point of this? Jason finds the power booster at the junkyard with his tracker, and he gets ambushed by cogs. Billy teleports it in, and then he teleports it out into the Megazord directly. I mean, I guess we just needed another reason to get rid of Jason for this fight. The Rangers are good to go now, and they're fighting against Mondo one-on-one, and Mondo warns that they'll never win when he has this big-ass sword. Then the Rangers just call out two separate sabers. Also, Jason has defeated the Cogs pretty easily. Then the Rangers smash the two sabers together, forming the Super Zeozord Saber, using it to slash Mondo, who just blows up into nothingness. Yeah, they definitely just killed Mondo. Then Machina says how this is happening again, and Sprocket asks if this has happened before, and Machina says yes, but he'll be back and stronger than ever. Way to deflate the entire situation. Meanwhile at the youth center, Bulk and Skull try to get Jason to show they're fine, but nope, they're wrong. Stone comes in with Ernie and the lady, and they find out that everything was wrong, and Ernie was actually the original baby. He's going to make baby food smoothies now. Okay. Then Rocky apologizes to everyone for being weird about this, and Tanya exclaims that Mondo is dead now. Rocky says, let's go get a juice, the new guy is buying, and everyone laughs. The end. Just kidding, Rita and Zed see that this happened, and they say they're going to be coming back to Earth now that Mondo is gone. Ooh, ominous. This episode's actually decent, but the Rocky part really could have been amped up a bit more. Also, Mondo's just straight up dead now, which is weird to think about. Rocky being jealous of Jason makes sense, but they never touch on the exact reason as to why it made sense. I mean, Rocky straight up replaced Jason last time. How come no one mentioned that at all? I feel like it's a pretty big sticking point here. Other than that, I like how they're progressing the overall plot with B plots that are more interesting than the A plots. It's kind of quintessential children's television writing, and I really dig it. So how will next time showcase Rita and Zed's triumphant return as villains? It might not at all. But until then, may the power protect you.